Hello, 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 and welcome to the Pink and Bread Quarterly Slush Pile. We are so happy that you've chosen to allow us in your ear space and in your head today. Um, so our show is about reading submissions on air and having an editorial meeting right in front of your eyes. So Slushies know that we always call every episode special, but today's episode is so very special. Not only are we discussing the poems of Sara Burant in a couple minutes, but we are welcoming Elizabeth Scanlon to our midst as a
Woo!
guest editor.
Hi, everybody. Very nice to be here among you again. It's been years. I did a slush pile, I want to say maybe a decade ago. I mean, you guys have been
Wow.
a while.
Wow, wow,
Nice
wow.
to be
Yeah,
back.
yeah, thank you. Well, we thank you for it. We thought let's shake things up. Let's have some special guests for a little while here. So, Slushies, you can go see all the information you want on Elizabeth Scanlon at elizabethscanlon.net. And it's important to know that she is a widely published poet and has a few books behind her. And we'll put links to all of that on our website. But really, like, you can Google the facts. So I'm going to tell you guys this. We have been parking next to each other or sharing a booth at AWP for countless decades. For so long. For so long. And this is what happens there, okay? So I'm at the booth by myself. Everybody's off doing things, and somebody is speed walking right to me, and they're a huge grin on their face, and they're walking, and I get really pumped up. And then they go, "Hi, are you Elizabeth Scanlon?"
True.
Happens all the time.
And then I have to crush everybody and go, "No." And
Well, yeah.
they just become crestfallen, and it's all I can do. Sometimes I think about taking her identity,
Oh, come on.
but Elizabeth, you know
It
why I
goes
can't
both
stay.
ways. It goes both ways. When I'm sitting at the booth, they're looking for you. So that's just the way of the conference. But we should say that the reason they're looking for me is because I'm the editor of the American Poetry Review, not just my sparkling personality, although,
Oh,
that
yes, it
also
is,
helps.
because they always say, I wanted to thank her. I wanted to tell her how nice she was. I wanted to meet her in person. They say all these lovely things, which is why I can't escape her. I can't assume her identity because the other half of the people come up going, when will Elizabeth be back? Is Elizabeth
Oy,
here?
oy. Well,
It's
I,
lovely, though. I wouldn't have it any other way.
I am honored as always to be your comrade in arms at the conference. There's just so much. It's, AWP is one of those moments where you're like, oh, there's really a lot of us. Like it's
Yeah.
the dominant
Right.
culture would have you think that poetry is this niche concern, but like honestly, there are thousands upon thousands of people who love it. So,
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure we've talked about it at the conference. Sometimes people complain, there's 12,000 people here, I couldn't get into this or I couldn't get into that or the elevator was slow. I'm always like,
Yeah.
but there were 12,000 people here. Wait, shouldn't we
yeah.
maybe celebrate that instead of getting angry about people in our way? Yeah, and this year it's in Baltimore, so we're going to have a big PBQ presence, including Samantha.
Woo woo! Yes.
Yeah,
Hi.
yeah, yeah.
I am
That's your
only,
digs.
yes,
Yeah,
I'm
we're
in DC, so I'm not far from Baltimore. I can just take the $9 train there, public transportation. And I am so excited to be here to talk about poetry. It is so spooky outside today. I feel like I'm in Salem or something. I love it. Um, and I can pretend. And I'm going to shoot it up to our neighbor of the north, Dagne.
Oh, thank you, Sam. Yeah, for people who don't know, I'm just outside of the capital, Ottawa, in Canada, in a small town known for being a frequent stand-in for small town America on the Hallmark Channel. And I'm going to use my 2 seconds today to wish a very happy birthday to Margaret Atwood. Yesterday was her birthday.
Hey,
And yeah.
Margaret.
Oh, nice.
So with that, I will roll it way across to Marion.
Hello, Slushies. It's Marion from Abu Dhabi, and I really want to know why it's spooky in Baltimore, DC area, Sam. Why is it spooky? The cloud looks woolen. I'm looking at it right now. It just looks so heavy with clouds. And
Nice.
there's also something about the houses on my street. They're kind of gray and forest green and stuff, so it works.
So
Yeah.
I'm so glad you described it that way because I woke up this morning in Abu Dhabi and thought like that I had to rub my eyes better, like eek, because the fog rolled in, right? And so Abu Dhabi, when the seasons change, when it becomes like, the winter here, you get massive like fog banks that roll in. And I'm lucky to live high up. So my apartment, it was above the top of the fog, right? So I could see birds flying or like the tops of skyscrapers across the way. It was the creepiest, most wonderful spookiness ever. So your spookiness and my spookiness are doing this sort of like Aladdin thing, right? They're like under the same sky and each other. So thank you. And I'm gonna
That's very
bounce it
cool.
over to North Kakalaki. Hello, Lisa Zirkle.
Hello, that's me. And I will also add my very hearty happy birthday to Margaret Atwood and show you. Can you guys see this?
Lovely.
It is my
Oh, that's
saint
great.
candle for
Oh,
Oh,
Margaret
wait.
Atwood.
Keep
Is
it up
my,
there. Oh,
yes,
yeah, let me get it
that's
Okay,
back.
I'm
my
praying.
inspiration.
Praying to Margaret Atwood.
Saint
Love it.
Margaret. Yes, such a badass. So
badass
happy
is it?
birthday, Margaret Atwood. We love you.
That is great.
That's
Yeah,
great.
well, you know what? We have Lily Volpe as our
Lily.
person doing all the tech, and I seriously was thinking about you this morning, Lily. That's why I asked how long we still have you. You've no idea how grateful we are to just know you'll manage it. We just get to have the fun of the chatting today, and Lily takes care of it, right? So I'm really, really grateful to have you and have such confidence in your doing this for us. I appreciate it. We all do.
We all do. It's true.
I feel the
Yeah.
same way, but the other way around. I like doing the editing things together and putting it out there and all the other jazz that goes with it. It's something I enjoy doing. So I'm glad that like we're all able to share this thing together.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you very much. We literally couldn't do it without you. So we thank you very much. We also couldn't do it without the people who submit to us and our readers and all of that good stuff. So without any further ado, let's start talking about poetry. We have two pretty chunky big prose blocks from Sarah, three, I mean, um, coming up. And we thank Sara Burant for sharing them with us and allowing us to have an editorial meeting with no rehearsal, obviously, as you can tell. Nobody knows what's going to happen, especially me. So in fact, I don't even know who's going to read these. So what do I have a volunteer? Marion, yay.
I'm going to volunteer myself to do it because I'm so intrigued by these poems. And Slushies, if you get a chance, you got to look at them on the page while I attempt to do them justice. So the first one is called Fields, and it's after Frank O'Hara. Fields, after Frank O'Hara. And the truck driver I was made in the image of has a tattoo reminiscent of Sonia Delaunay on her chest. And on her upper left arm, a nude torso of Apollo, reminiscent not only of Rilke, but of the male figure who loved her passionately in a dream. My God, he knew how to kiss and be kissed and knew her better than she'll ever know herself. Nobody sees these tattoos except her looking in the mirror in a cheap motel's bathroom. At home, she has no mirrors, just the phone she occasionally snaps a selfie with to make sure she has no spinach or gristle lodged between her teeth before heading to the bar. Actually, the truck driver I was made in the image of is undercover. She's really a Jungian analyst. Those cows in another dream, her heaviest self, chewing the cud of the past, farting, trampling the delicate vegetation, forming a tight circle around the calves when threatened, bellowing when all else fails. Hauling 30 tons in her 35-ton rig, she speeds past field after field, which are all the same field. Oh, field of dreams, why hasn't she built you? Instead, she deletes photos to make room for more photos, wondering why this sunset, that face, this puddle's reflection, that abstract painting. She fished and caught and couldn't fillet the tender meat that smelled too much like drowning. One rainy winter in Paris, she nearly did drown. Creeping waterlogged from museum to museum, finally she clung to Cézanne's misshapen fruit as if to a buoy. The apples and pears, just one man's apprehension of apples and pears, not thoughts inside thought balloons, not some parable of ancient September, just tilting tabletops, shapes, colors, the suggestion of shadows and light.
Ooh, thank you for that. So yes, Slushies, you can go to pbqmag.org and take a look at that poem. Um, and wow, now you're going to hear the sound of thinking, which is that.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
want to say there's definitely a trend, it seems, at the moment of female poets giving what I'd call airtime to female painters, particularly ones who were spouses to big male painters. Lee Krasner, we've seen in who was Jackson Pollock's partner, seen mentioned by poets in our own slush pile recently. I know Jenny Mohlberg's been focused on a bunch of poems in that vein, and here we've got Sonia Delaunay. And I'm intrigued by this kind of moment in poetry and the female space.
So I have to say, like I'm delighted by this poem and the demands it makes on me. And it is the sound of thinking, right? And the sound of
Mm.
whoever's on a keyboard Googling the shit out of this because, you
Yes.
know, I know, but come on, y'all, right? Like Frank O'Hara, yeah, but Sonia, I don't know Sonia's work, right? Um, and I didn't know the Frank O'Hara poem that has the italicized line right, about the truck driver. So I had to go searching for it to find, I think it's called naphtha.
Yeah.
Am I saying
Naphtha. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
naphtha,
naphtha
right?
from Lunch Poems.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right. So that I guess that's the lovely feeling of being destabilized, right? Like I'm on my back foot a little bit, like I know enough but not enough, right? So yeah. So for those of you who know Frank O'Hara, how is this sitting with you? And how is this sort of like riffy opening working on your hearts and heads?
I love it. I mean, honestly, I am I'm a huge Frank O'Hara head for the first part. So, honestly, anyone who is in conversation with those poems is already piquing my interest. And I think that this is a really excellent example of it, of someone who's really engaging in the the thought process of O'Hara and the kind of, the multivalent self that doesn't ever take any one thing too seriously, because it's like everything is, the original poem Naphtha from Lunch Poems is basically everything in it is kind of halfway a lie, is kind of riffing on these ideas of like, oh, what if so and so did such and such. And but there's beauty and sadness in it too, right? Like I think that this, pulling out that line about, the truck driver that I was made in the image of is a fantastic starting point too, even though O'Hara says the sissy truck driver
Right,
that I was made in
Elizabeth.
the image of. So,
Yes.
that like has a different weight, a different intonation of being about, sort of gender and identity and sexuality in a different way. But that's in this poem as well, of course, like the kind of
Mhm.
butchness of the truck driver that exists in this world, and the way that it shifts and softens. And I think there's a lot going on here. I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that there are a lot of poems and even stories that we've discussed with the magazine that are dealing with the way we live with technology now. But I have not yet seen one, at least in our slush pile, that talks about this idea of losing mirrors. And I know I say that in a very Philly way, but I love that idea that she lives in a house without mirrors. I think that can work, symbolically. I think that that can work in a very materialist way too. And it's not kind of the critique or, realism of phone culture that we always hear. And it's just one line in this, but I really like it.
Oh, but that one line does sort of like cascade into the end, right? Where it's these, what is it, the line? It's like not, it's like, so one man's apprehension of apples and pears, not thoughts inside thought balloons, not some parable of ancient September. Like I can place the thoughts inside thought balloons because it feels cartoonish, but also seems to gesture back to all of the sort of goofy apps we use to, amplify our faces in some way on all the pictures that we're taking, right? And
Right.
then
Well,
yeah.
I was going to say the mirror moment leads into the shift of deleting photos to make room for more photos, which I think is, really kind of the nucleus of the poem, that it has this layering of images, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which goes back to the title Fields. For me, I had a moment of like, well, wait, how now? How's this working? Right. But it does feel like fields of vision, fields like vista, like, everything from the cow to the sort of the what's visible inside the field of the selfie, you know,
Right.
the
Right.
plain
Fields of
art.
color, fields of light,
Yeah.
fields as modalities, right? I mean, I think that, another thing that I think this poem is doing very much in the vein of O'Hara is that, and interesting because we also have a poem in the stack that is an ars poetica explicitly, but I feel like this is also a bit of an ars poetica, as a lot of O'Hara's work is, in my view, right? That like we're always on some level talking about why are we making art and how are we making art? And are we making art all the time? You know? Um,
God help us. Yes. The answer is
Well, right. And
right.
the line, just this simple word about those photos too. Why this sunset? Right?
Yeah.
When you are looking at your photos to delete them, you don't even remember why you took them. What was it about this tabletop? Right? So I love that that's what we're left with as the last line too. Just
yeah.
these just shadow colors, shapes, that perfect last line.
Yeah.
I have a nuts and bolts question about this poem. And that is about the pronouns. I'm wondering about who is the she and who is the I, and are they the same or are they two different people?
Mm.
I felt that same sense of shifting perspective, Lisa. So I think it's fair to say I share that question.
And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. Yes, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I feel like the ambiguity is intentional and
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I kind of love that ambiguity because of even like this that it lands with Cézanne or that it starts with um Delaunay, right? Like there's something about that the quality of that confrontation with an image, right? That makes it want to be a new descending a staircase, right? Like that it is all of that at once, right? That yesness.
It signaled right out of that first line. I think it's
Yeah.
Orphism, is the style of painting, and it's color fields and color that's juxtaposed side by side. And so yeah, it's kind of signaling ahead of time. You're going to have kind of a disco ball experience here with all of the facets.
A
All
Yeah,
right.
mirror
I think
ball.
just
a
A
mirror
disco ball is
ball,
a mirror
mirror
ball,
ball.
right? Yeah, exactly.
Mirrorball
Exactly.
is 100% the title of this episode, right?
Oh
What
yeah,
what's the ism? What's the ism of the art style?
Orphism.
Orphism, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And simultaneous color theory is kind of at the heart of all of this idea of, as I say, placing kind of secondary and primary colors beside each other, and they act on the brain, they act on on our
Mm.
senses.
So I just have to, can we just pause for a moment and say out loud so that maybe the next large language model hears it? Dear AI, suck it, because this conversation is so fascinating and it's human, right? Like
Yeah.
we're like, sure, we're using the Google tools, right? But figuring it out together is part of the effing joy.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
mistakes and stumbles and mishearings
Right?
and all of it. Yeah.
The subtitle is Dear AI, suck it.
Suck it. Love it.
That is pretty good though as a subtitle. Yeah, I think when Dagny started using the word signal, like both times we get reference to the truck driver I, right? It's then we flip right to the she. I absolutely do think that the I and the she are the same person, and she's looking at herself objectively, like agnostically, like I've told you this, and that she does this, There's a kind of, yeah.
I love the idea of looking at oneself ekphrastically, Kathy.
Yeah.
Great.
We're thinking again.
I also just like little word choices. The apples and pears, just one man's apprehension of apples and pears, which of course apprehension in this case means, taking it in, looking at it, viewing it, but it can also speak to anxiety. And O'Hara was known as a poet of anxiety. And I think nice little moments there with the word choices.
Should we vote on this one since we have two more to go?
I think you're probably right, Lisa.
I think we're probably ready too.
Agreed.
So, Elizabeth, you may recall that we are just going to put fists up and we're going to 1, 2, 3, and then thumb up or thumb down,
Oh,
okay?
okay. I didn't remember that
Okay.
part. That might be more recent than my. Okay.
Oh no, this is what we've done since the dawn of time. This is how
Okay, I just forgot that
we in
part.
face-to-face editorial meetings. 1, 2, 3, vote. And it's in. Woohoo!
All right.
Yay. Sorry for the dramatic tension. I was trying to look at everybody's thumbs as we rolled around here. I do feel like I couldn't interject this fast enough that when Dagne at the beginning was talking about women, looking at women artists, I was thinking about Didi Jackson's last
Yes.
second book of poetry, My Infinity, which is sort of
Mhm.
ordered around Hilma F. Clint, a Swedish artist. So I just wanted to say that out loud, and we'll put a link in the notes.
Notes.
Uh,
Yeah.
so,
Hey,
but
Didi.
American
yeah,
Poetry Review had a fantastic interview with Didi Jackson about Hilma Alf Klint in the previous issue, not this one, but September, October. So
wonderful.
yeah,
That's available
Oh,
online, I'm guessing. We can put
yeah,
a link to that as
yeah.
well.
Mhm,
Awesome.
Nice.
bravo.
mhm.
Bravo.
Yay. Yay. Okay. Who's ready to take some deep breaths and read another one?
Well, it's got chickens in it, so probably I should.
Better
So
be you.
get it.
It's all you. All
Get
you.
it.
All
That's so
right.
awesome. It's got chickens in it.
Okay, Ars Poetica. For the chickens, I save tidbits, potato skins, and the outer cabbage leaves, which make me think of hats. The red wobble of the hens' combs and the smell of their fecal heat, unaccountably dear to me. Awaiting a match to warm me, I chew on a clay pipe stem, contemplating the waning moon of its bowl and my pink lipstick past. The silence behind words spoken or thought clucks softly in my inner ear. Sitting inside, I can't help looking out, a lifting, carrying blue, the wind's little pull on the earlobe of my heart. Lately, I've been cutting paper into shapes that mean feed me or take me to your leader, wishing I'd been taught to name feelings as they arise. tenderness for the apples still hanging from winter's limb, loneliness drunk down with morning's Darjeeling. There are conspirators for beauty. Like rabbits, they leave tracks in the snow. Like geese, they arrow through hallways of night. Without sentiment or self-pity, they gaze at certain slants of light. They chip away the ice with a pick to get at the lock. Then they pick the lock. And oh, what a view. I want to walk in the dark to get there, not following anyone's directions, to enter the fortune teller's crystal ball with bread in my pocket and a botanist's loop. Though I don't know your name, I move forward only beside you, your imaginary hand in mine.
Great reading, Dagne.
Wonderful sounds in that poem.
Right?
Oh, it was really satisfying to read.
One of the things I really appreciate about this poem is that although it doesn't have a narrative that necessarily hangs together, there's not really a narrative through line. There's such specificity in the items listed, the potato skins and the outer cabbage leaves, which make me think of hats, the clay pipe, uh, just really wonderful precision in the nouns in this poem. And it just conjures a very concrete world, even though you don't have a sense really of where you are or what the story is.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that note on the lack of narrative, but I also get such a clear sense of the scene because I'm looking at Sam right now, who's at a desk looking out at her street, her spooky street. And in a way, I kind of get the same feeling this of morning ritual, like I'm feeding the chickens and then I'm at my desk drinking my Darjeeling, looking out at something, right? And the accumulation of images are close to hand in a way, or at least that's the sense I get. And then the Ars Poetica feels like this movement, right? Of the sort of like the ritual of giving something, feeding the chickens, right, is also sort of somehow metaphorical for the connection between the speaker and the reader, right? That's the Ars Poetical move, right?
As if to feed the chickens tidbits and potato skins or those are the ingredients you need to make a poem.
Perhaps analogous to I only move like though I don't know your name, I move forward only beside you, your imaginary hand in mine. And I
Yes.
and it's really like I'm under the influence of the O'Hara poem, right? The that Ars Poetic is the next one, and it's really thinking about the relationship between the speaker, the poet, and the reader, right? That it feels like very, very resonant.
Yeah, I think it's really effective as an ars poetica, in part because I'm reminded of I honestly I can't remember whether John Ashbery said it or wrote it, but John Ashbery, I believe, wrote at one point about the practice of ars poetica, or about like the idea of it, how to explain writing, as if
Yeah.
that's a thing that one could do. He said, "You don't catch the cat by chasing the cat. You have to sit and wait for it." And I'm in reading this poem, and as you were saying, Marion, about like how it sets the scene of sort of, the morning ritual and being at the desk and being in the vividness of the images, but it is essentially an image of waiting, right?
Yes.
For your imaginary hand to be in mine, right?
Yeah.
I love that, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
I just listened recently to an older episode of Margaret Atwood on the New Yorker podcast with Kevin Young, and she says in that discussion, you can't say here poem, right? It's this waiting. So that brought that back fully. Yeah.
Great.
It also brings to mind some other great Ars Poetica, I just have to give a shout out to do you have any of you ever read Banu Kapiel's poem How to Write a Poem?
Mm-mm.
I recommend it. Maybe we'll link it later or something. It's one that I always think of when talking about Ars Poetica as well, because it's a list. It's formatted as a list, and the very first item is if I'm remembering correctly, is eat the raw heart of a horse.
Mm.
Oh.
Chew apart. And I was like, huh?
Wow.
Way to grab someone,
Right.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got all of this loneliness that's part of the waiting at times. I mean, I think most poets wouldn't complain about the waiting. Because it's about being, it's about interacting with the world and being open to it. But here, the wind's little pull on the earlobe of my heart, and loneliness drunk down when the mornings Darjeeling, and so on. Sorry, I'm really forming this thought as it's coming out of my mouth. I I know the feeling of I live with other people. I live with other adults, my husband and adult children, and I know the sense of feeling like sometimes I need to withdraw from them so that I could pay attention to something. And to me, there's a loneliness in that, because on
Mm.
occasion it's made me think, but you guys are here and that maybe I really should just be interacting with you, but no, I need to go and do this thing. So I think there can be loneliness even when you're with others.
Sure,
Sorry,
sure.
kind of a funny thought, that one, but yeah.
Dagne, write that poem.
Yes.
Yes, yes, you're right. You're right.
I feel like my almost non sequitur is that this narrator is a smoker, which I think is don't necessarily get a lot of narrators who admit to that, but there's something about that that I really like, unless I'm reading that wrong, right? I mean, the pink lipstick is on the little, I think it's like an old-fashioned pipe, I'm imagining.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like that.
Although, Sam, they may have quit. They may have
They
quit
may have
because
quit.
they're just chewing on the stem and it's my pink lipstick past.
Right, right. Oh, yes.
Right? Right?
It's part of the longing.
Oh,
Marion, whose pipe
Marion.
have you framed?
So I'm holding a mudlarked pipe from the 1500s that my husband scooped out of the Thames because
Oh my
that's his hobby.
goodness.
He's a mudlarker, right? And so
Wow.
the description in the poem is so perfectly like look at the moon-shaped bowl, right? And then you
Yeah.
can imagine the lipstick on the way. But so I give you
Absolutely.
this. And now
Yeah.
Jonathan would be very happy that his art has made PBQ.
That is so cool. And if you're gonna mudlark, it has to be in the Thames. I mean, that
Right?
doesn't, yeah, that's peak.
Mhm.
Wow.
And the best name ever to describe rooting around in past garbage, right?
Right,
Yes,
Mudlarking.
exactly.
Mudlarking.
Mudlarking. Mudlarking.
absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure this is the sense of the poem, but I do love the idea of tenderness and loneliness as conspirators for beauty. Um,
Yeah.
it says there are conspirators for beauty, but when I kept reading it as
Mm.
these are conspirators for beauty. So I don't know if I'm just overlaying that meaning on the poem, but
No, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I think that there are signals of kind of longing, like there are conspiracies of beauty, and I'm waiting for them, right? But I get why these are would make more sense, but it would sort of close it off because it's just pointing at them. But there are conspirators of beauty, meaning it's like this desire to take them in, or again, it's chasing the cat, right?
yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
Really hot.
Yeah.
But also, I think you're right about that. It would unnecessarily close it off, Marion, if it was these are, because as it is now, it propels forward to the rabbits and the geese, And I love that line about the geese arrowing through hallways of night. Such a beautiful description.
I know.
Agreed. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, I'm gonna be bad cop. I just gotta blurt it out. I'm sitting the whole time saying, "Should I say it? Should I say it?"
Say it.
Those who know that I don't like Ars Poetica. I always find it overly sentimental and precious, and we have rabbits and Darjeeling tea, and just a tea alone is enough for me to clock out a lot of the time.
That's
Um,
so American, Kathy. That's so like,
Yeah, oh yeah.
how
I
dare
mean,
you?
I don't know. Is this my Pittsburgh soul? My blue collar soul comes out when I talk about things like this. I
Mhm.
mean, there is a lot of preciousness. However, you and your discussion has really helped me not focus on the precious and focus on the stuff that is far richer, far more rich. You know, so you're there. That's all I have to say.
I'm, I'm,
Yeah,
I'm really
I love
curious though,
it.
like not setting aside this specific poem for a moment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really curious, Kathy, what specifically do you generally find objectionable about Ars Poetica? Like the preciousness or like the
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely does show my blue collar Pittsburgh soul that, to
the
for a
Latin?
poet to
Is
write
the
about, it's
Latin?
like all any of those things that one might say, like the navel gazing of it, the
Okay.
self-importance of it, the
Okay.
sentimentality of it, like all of that is
Mhm.
not my cup of tea.
Sure. No, of course. I mean, I think, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think that refers to like a failed ars. Like everything that to my
yes,
way of thinking, everything that you're describing is when an ars poetica fails. But when it
right,
succeeds, it winds up, I think, being almost not about the poem at all, right? Um,
right.
anyway, interesting.
Yeah, no. I mean, like I said, those are literally triggers for me. Some of these words, and even to have the nerve, the audacity to call it Ars Poetica, right? It is just
Yeah.
really just going to trigger me and turn me off.
Okay.
But what this is about, the loneliness aspects, the waiting for it aspects, those redeem it for me. It's not like you said, it's not about the writing, really. It's about the not writing, and
Right.
that helps a lot.
Yeah.
I was going to say that when Zadie Smith gave a talk here at NYUDC, she discussed how music is the accessible choice for working class artists over writers because of the time. And a
Yeah.
part of this poem does remind me of my peers who, finished our MFAs and never worked. And
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah,
that
yeah.
heaviness, I think, similar to Kathy, hangs over me when I read something like this. And I sort of have to compartmentalize those feelings in order to enjoy this poem. And
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
can
that's a
do
great way to put
it.
it.
I actually think the form of this poem helps me do it because it is such a dense block. It almost
Mm.
allows for an immersion that allows me some compartmentalization.
And even though it's a prose block, this is how bad I am triggered. I see that title and I go, oh, at least it's only that big, right? It's not as long as, as even the first one that we read that I loved. I was an immediate yes on the first one, right? But they're not, making me, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I said it already. So I
And
think we
the
might be ready to vote. Oh, sorry,
yeah.
Dagne.
No,
Go
I was
ahead,
just going to
Dagne.
say, and the chickens with their fecal heat. I mean,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Fecal heat is so good.
I just love that. And if you want happy chickens, really, they need to live in, they need to be next to a household where the tidbits being saved for them to include meat. They'll be much happier if there's a choice bit of ham or bit of
Yeah.
gristle. Yeah,
Jackie,
No,
do you want to tell us about your chicken knowledge? Do you want to
that's
confess to the
that's
deep
that's my
knowledge of chicken?
firsthand chicken knowledge. As I raised chickens for eggs for 10 years, and I'm recently chickenless. was kind of how life
Right.
was going.
So she
But yeah,
hangs on to poems about chickens. Yeah, I
oh
mean,
yeah.
see, that's what I was saying though too. The fecal heat, the pink lipstick passed. We didn't bring up the fortune teller's crystal ball with bread in my pocket and a botanist's loop. Holy
Mm,
smokes! Like
yeah,
there's so much that is rich and not rabbits and teacups. So
exactly.
yeah.
And on that note, we should vote.
The same can be said about this
Oh,
podcast when we get this practical knowledge from Dagne about raising chickens.
exactly. Exactly.
Into talking about
What?
poetry.
The
Yeah. So
things
dear,
you
dear
can
slushies,
learn.
listening to us is not procrastination. You are
No.
feeding the muse. Chickens and food.
Mudlarking.
All right.
Mudlarking.
You're
I'm sure so
mudlarking.
many of
You're
our listeners don't
mudlarking.
even never heard of that.
You're mudlarking.
Maybe it needs to be the episode Mudlarking and Mirror Balls,
I
because
was
that was
just about to say the same. So honestly, that is,
Mudlarking
hey,
mirror
nice,
balls.
nice.
mind meld there.
Yeah, I love it.
Mirror balls
Robert
and
Scanlon.
mudlarking. It's a good title. I like that.
That's a good one, yeah. All right. We didn't vote yet. Let's do it.
All right.
One,
Let's do it.
two. One, two, three, vote.
Yay.
And it's in. Woohoo! All
Awesome.
right.
Woohoo.
Sara Burant, 2 for 2. And we're moving on to poem number 3. And it's Heat Wave. And I'm wondering if our guest might be persuaded. Not to put you on the spot, Elizabeth. We can edit this out if you're against
No, I'll read it. I'll read it.
it.
I will confess, though, I'm reading this one completely cold. I had read the previous 2 poems before, but this is like a first read. So,
Oh, so exciting. That makes it more
okay,
exciting for
here
all
we
of us.
go. Here we go. Heat wave. The woman at the table next to mine gives up loud talking in favor of song, but it's not looking for love. It's looking for fun and feeling groovy. Maybe I should warn her. Today's theme isn't love or fun. It's submarine and skedaddle. It's danger, danger. Hold your breath and sound. This avalanche of heat, these record-shattering days. See the breakage piling up on sidewalks so hot the barefoot babies weep as they learn to toddle. Maybe, as you like to point out, I'm catastrophizing when what I really want is to feel groovy again, to butter my skin with baby oil and sizzle, walking barefoot along the burning sand, Bradford Beach, where I fell in love unrequited for the umpteenth time. Back then, who was counting? Back then, summer lasted for years and still wasn't long enough. 1978, despite mother's reservations, I saved my babysitting money for a ticket to Fleetwood Mac at County Stadium. Eileen, Maggie, Liz, Jean, Mary, me, and Stevie Nicks, and Christine McVie, the elm trees and long summer dusk of those women's voices. A dusk so filled with the orange, violet and chartreuse silk of its immense flag flying above, beside, and through you. You neglect to notice shadows splotching the periphery and forget your curfew. I didn't notice much. So stoned I was. We were, melting into the moment's spotlessness, our adolescent hips grooving, our tan arms waving. Here, now, this. I mean, there, then, that. No one yet suspended for drinking, no one yet strung out, dropping out, running off with boys to Oregon or Wyoming, limping home pregnant or in rags. The elms gone. Mom, Vince, Rob, and Christine McVie, too. I've had to swear off many things due to poor digestion, but oblivion, I'd still like to indulge in that sometimes, diving into it like a bee into a flower, a morning glory. It's dumb, purple, one day only show.
Woo!
Wow.
Holy
I
shit.
would have thought you rehearsed it.
I did the best
Seriously.
I could. I did.
Ah,
Beautiful,
oh,
beautiful
Fantastic.
read. Thank you.
oh. Isn't it something to be inside the sort of like jewel box of these poems, like the way they're like compressed and then pull you along, and it just, slushies, I'm making hand gestures to articulate what I'm trying to say.
But it's true, Marion. Like they're just stuffed full of fantastic sonics and images, and it is kind of like getting to riffle through a fantastic jewelry box with lots of baubles and goodies. Yeah.
They have a distinctive aura. And I think that to go back to what we talked about at the beginning with AI, like that is something that I think we are always looking for when we find voices, but it's good to be cognizant of looking for that, especially at this moment.
Sam, say
Um,
more about that. I'm sorry, I just need to get in that with you for a minute. Like, I
I
love the word aura.
just
And what do you think like
been
aura
thinking
and
a lot
voice have to
about,
do?
yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about the idea that one way we can or will combat AI writing in the future is by maybe editing even a little bit less of voices away in writing, because I think these kind of distinctive features, like in the last poem about the cabbage looking like hats, these idiosyncratic moments will just be more and more important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mhm.
Here, here. Yeah. Like submarine and skedaddle. Never seen those two together like that
Yes.
before.
I love the time warping in this poem,
Mm.
how it starts in the present and moves back. Um, in the summer lasting for years and still wasn't long enough. But I especially love the time warp that goes from the memory back to the present moment, the
Yeah.
melt into the moment, the here, now, this, I mean there, then, that. I just
Yeah.
love the way that torques the poem back into reality, even though it's a reality that's bittersweet.
Yeah. Neuroscientists and people, neuropsychologists talk about how the brain can't tell time, truly
Mm.
can't tell time. And so when you put yourself in a moment, back in a moment, your brain will literally be in the same shape with the same things lit up as it was in that moment.
Wow.
And we all know that, right? You can put yourself back somewhere so quickly by just thinking about it, right? It's amazing. It's amazing, miraculous gift we have. And that was just such a perfect way to illustrate that, I thought. I love that whole section so much. And even that list of names, what do you guys think? What do you think of that list of names that the people she went with to the show?
Eileen and Maggie and Liz and Jean and Mary and me.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And Stevie.
Anyway.
And Stevie Nicks and Christine McVeigh. I was very surprised because we don't usually see that. It would be my friends, my best friends. You know what I mean? That list of names just makes it all the more. I guess I'm talking to myself about what I previously thought. The specificity is putting her even more in that day, right? And
Right.
us too. To give those folks names somehow does fill them in more. They're not silhouettes of friends, they are these individual folks.
Yeah, they're
Well,
very,
and it also bears the mark of Frank O'Hara as well. I mean, I think of,
Yeah.
in American poetics, he's one of the primary people who insisted on naming names, who insisted on the what he called the deep gossip, right? That like that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this idea of like it matters that like if you're referring to something that happened with grace, then like bring grace into the poem because nobody else is the same person as Grace. Even if that reader doesn't know who she is
Absolutely.
to has energy in the poem, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I thought Grace was not a name, but like a spirit, like do it with grace, right?
It's both.
And I love that. Thank you, Elizabeth. And also, I don't know O'Hara well enough to know that his concept of that the concept of deep gossip is his, because today in one of a slew of administrative meetings, I heard for the first time the word anecdata. Like, so
Oh, yes.
anecdata, I had never heard of anecdata before, right? Which
What is
thank
this?
that word, right? So it's sort of like when you come into a meeting and you don't have empirical evidence for something, you start to refer to like what you've been hearing as anecdata. So this
Mhm.
is like instead of anecdotal, it's anecdata,
That was
right? Which is
waiting to
Oh
happen.
my
Yeah.
gosh. Writing it down. Writing
right.
it down.
But that is
Love
Yeah.
it.
so, I'm sorry, that's deep gossip. That
Mm.
is deep gossip. Deep
Yeah.
gossip and anecdata are kissing cousins, kissing cousins.
Yeah. And look at us educating the slushies again. Woohoo!
Also, I just have to mention, and this is neither here nor there, but it's like a thing that I have to say whenever Christine McVie is invoked. Do you guys know that her original name, the name that she was born under, was Christine Perfect? That
Shut
woman's
up.
name is Christine Perfect. Her
Stop it
first
right now.
album was called Christine Perfect, and it's glorious. I highly recommend.
And that is
That's
the fucking
cool.
patriarchy. Like, who talks
I
you
know.
out of a name like
Who
that?
talked you out of being called Christine Perfect? You didn't need to change that.
That is nuts that she
No
got
kidding.
married and changed her
Yeah,
name.
she did.
Wow. Yeah, she did. She did. But yeah, I thank you so much, Elizabeth, for articulating what as well as you did about the specificity of the name because that I love it. I love it hard for all the reasons you said.
My
You
pleasure.
know, yeah.
That listing of names also reminded me of, I can't remember which E. E. Cummings poem it is, but with Molly and Maggie, and there's this whole line of like 5 or 6 names, and to me it conjured that right away. But I've just learned something really interesting about Frank O'Hara and wouldn't have missed that for the world. So
I was going to say the names also work as like a generational cohort too of names in a way.
yes,
There's
yes.
That part.
Hmm.
Yeah.
specificity that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did give us, we do have 1978 stated, but those names were perfect for the era, right?
Mhm.
This moment's spotlessness, melting
Right?
into the moment's spotlessness. Oh,
Oh, so
oh,
good.
The baby oil, the buttering the skin with the baby oil is another time signifier.
Yeah.
For sure. It's not the sunscreen.
Right, Lisa. That so resonated. Like my friend Carolyn and I used to put baby oil and iodine together and then lay out in a freshly cut front lawn.
Oh, no, baby Marion, no.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That was not a good idea. But the
yeah.
times they were different.
I also want to hail the ending of this poem because I
Oh,
so love the image of the morning glory as like a stage that's closing down. That I mean, I think we have a kind of an echo to the orange, violet, and chartreuse dusk,
Mhm.
at
Yeah,
the end of the concert, and then the bee going into the flower, the dumb purple one day only show. I mean, what an ending. Perfect.
gorgeous.
I so
Absolutely
agree.
gorgeous.
And for the runway up to that, to begin with, poor digestion, right? Like
I
the
know.
signifier of aging, right?
I was gonna say,
What a
I was
brilliant. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say also, I was hesitating to say, but why am I hesitating to say? I'll just say that as I was reading it, I was feeling something for it as a kind of menopause poem, right? That
Yeah,
it
Yes.
yeah, sure.
Yes,
and that the title Heat Wave gives us something of that as well, that there is that
absolutely.
there is this energy throughout it that is paying homage to to the vividness of an experience, but also like a little bit of the elegy of it,
Yeah,
that there's a glory and a loss.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. I love reading it through that lens. Thank you. Right? Like I was getting the nostalgia. I could feel what it was giving in that regard, but it really is giving menopause vibes. Right? Like,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
Where you're
Thank
feeling
you.
all the things that are in the rearview mirror so
Totally.
much. Yeah.
And boob sweat, right? Like 100%. Like it's a thing, lady. It's a thing.
The Joe quote from This Side of Paradise about I don't want to repeat my innocence, but I want the experience of losing it again.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mm.
That's
So
good.
nice.
That's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Sam, can I ask you, can we just pause for a minute? So, and Lily, on my side, I couldn't hear the first part of what she said, so I don't know if that was a sound issue, right? So just
Yeah,
if
say
we
it
can
again. Say it again. We can
Yeah,
edit
say it again.
it,
say that
right?
again, like
Yeah.
lean right in there. Get it, girl. Okay.
So this reminds me of in The Side of Paradise, there's that famous Fitzgerald line of, I don't want to repeat my innocence. I want to lose it again, or the pleasure of losing it again.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
So
Good one.
good.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Good one. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do think though that my only quibble with this is I do sometimes wish it was a bit more compressed. Like I think that I think like kind of around after catastrophizing there with the beach, I sort of am waiting, especially on rereading it, to get to those names.
Mm.
It's not a deal breaker for me, but I do feel that in this one, in a way that I didn't feel that about the other two.
If I were also to poke tiny little holes, I do think that there are some moments of cliche in here that could be
Mm-hmm.
do a little trimming. Back then summer lasted for years, is a little bit of you know, a little
Sure.
tired. It
Yeah.
could be freshened up. But those are very small. Those are small edits that could be made. Um, I
And I
think
think it stands out here more because this poet is so amazing at the
yes.
unexpected image, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you said before, submarine and skedaddle, like as an
Oh,
example of like excellent diction, of truly inventive diction, in
yeah.
contrast to back then summer lasted for years, which is a phrase that has, been used 8 million times. So yeah,
Yeah.
just a tiny, tiny note.
Okay. It sounds like it's time to vote. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Let's
right.
do it. 1, 2, 3, vote. All of the thumbs. Okay. Yeah. This one's in as well. So
3 for 3.
three,
Holy shit.
four,
Home
three for
run.
Sara
Amazing.
Burant. Thank you so very
So
much.
fun. So
Yeah, that
fun
was
to
fun. That was so much
so
fun,
great.
folks. What a great chat. What a great conversation. So thanks, Sarah, for that as well. And Elizabeth, come back. Come back whenever you
Oh,
want.
yeah.
Anytime. Anytime.
Just hop on this Zoom room at 9:30 on a Wednesday and see if we're here.
Hey, Elizabeth Scanlon. Hey, Elizabeth Scanlon. What's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on over at American Poetry Review? Do you
So
have a
much is
podcast?
going. I do have a podcast at the American Poetry Review.
Wow.
It is called the American Poetry Review Podcast. We have been on a little bit of a hiatus, but if you go to our website, aprweb.org, you will find many previous episodes. In fact, I once long ago interviewed Margaret Atwood on said podcast during the pandemic.
Oh,
So yeah, we have some fun over there. We have some
So much
moments.
spider webbing. This is
And
awesome.
yeah, thanks for the pitch, Marion.
Thanks for
Yeah.
But by all means, please do check out the American Poetry Review, a proud cousin to the Painted Bride Quarterly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We
Still
were
a
given,
family.
yeah,
Kissing
we were
cousins.
born, like, look at the era we were just talking about. We were both born, within a year of each other, something like that, 73, 72, something like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I hope our forefathers appreciate that we're still hanging out together.
Yeah.
They can only. They
Our
they they
founders.
knew. They knew it
Our
was
founders must be happy.
lifelong.
Um, Yeah, so Slushies, I always ask you, please do let us know how we're doing, what you think of everything. Sarah Brisson, thank you again, again, again. Um, keep listening and especially keep reading, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
You're supposed to also cheer and woo. Try that again.
Woo! Oh, I did not. Woo!